Hi, everybody. We're trying this again.
Take two.
Take two. CC.
JT.
Amateur hour. Production values go to die. We're having a little setup problem here, but we're ready to roll now. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe.
No? Okay. Sunday, August 10th, 2025. It's been a couple weeks since you've seen us. We've been kind of keeping busy, with book releases and pre-sales and things like that. We've got some stuff to show you. And I think what we have is a very interesting topic today. We have an interesting topic. And we're going to give credit where credit is due for that topic. But since we last got together, Passion Restored
Came out. Yep.
And it did kind of nice. It got some
did.
pre-sales, and it's lots of compliments, and that was pretty cool.
We got a book sale from our bookstore from someone we don't know. Thank you.
Thank you. That was really awesome.
That was exciting.
And we also got a book sale from someone we did know, so that was exciting too. Thank you.
And I got my second review. I've got 2 5-star ratings, and the first official written review is from the president of our fan club.
Oh, by the way, celebrated a birthday this week, so happy birthday to
Kappa.
Madam President.
Yes.
With all the rights and responsibilities that come with being our fan club president.
And I think they're in Denmark right now.
Yeah, Oslo.
Norway. So they're in Norway.
Yeah.
But they're up in that part of the world. So hi. Hope you had a good birthday.
Yes. Anyway, happy birthday. And we did a pre-sale. We started the pre-sale for the third Serving Salvation book, and
all 3.
Yeah, look how they all sort of came together.
Pretty. So in the art world, a 3-piece art installation is called a triptych. I've always loved that word. So we have the triptych, the trio.
Yeah,
the series will be complete.
Yep. And that's going to be August 23rd. It's going to be out there.
I thought it was the 26th.
26th, 23rd.
Isn't it Tuesday the 26th?
I think you're right. But I closed the calendar, of course, which I should have kept it open. Yes, you are correct. Tuesday the 26th.
Yep.
Yay! So that's pretty awesome.
Yep.
So we're looking forward to that, and this book has definitely been a ride. The series has been a ride.
Yeah.
It's just when I started writing it, the words just sort of came together.
Mm-hmm.
My first love, literary love, has always been science fiction.
Right.
That was my first love. Robert Heinlein and all the masters who I could just list on forever, and it was an honor and a privilege to write in their genre. And I had a lot of fun.
It's a fun series. I've enjoyed reading it too.
And there is a prequel. It's in progress right now, which is Finding Salvation, and that's fun too. And that will be coming out. The first novella of that series is out.
Yep.
And the other 2 are coming out here pretty soon. So that was fun too.
Probably by the end of the year, right?
Pardon me?
Probably by the end of the year.
By the end of the year, yeah. And then somewhere in between there, finally, the third book of the Maggie series. A lot of book 3s going on. Book 3 of the Maggie series, which is currently in the editing queue, is coming out.
Actually, isn't it you said it was in proofing, right?
Yeah, it's in proofing.
So it's
our friends at Red Depth. Thank you again to TerryCase.com for her fantastic creative editing. It made it a better, stronger book. And it's at proofing right now at our friends at redadept.com. And so that is coming out the month after next. It's going to come out in October.
On Nevada Day.
On Nevada Day, the real Nevada Day.
October 31st.
October 31st.
And actually, maybe in October we should talk a little bit about Nevada Day.
Yeah, we'll be talking about Nevada Day, about the fascinating history of Nevada Day. Now, Nevada is one of the few states to actually celebrate its founding day. So we'll be talking more about that. There's a bit of history, and it's a bit of fun, and there's also a bit of parade.
That's why we're one of the few states that really put that much effort into Nevada Day, into our admission day.
Yeah.
It's the parade has been going on, I think it's since 1936.
Mm-hmm.
We became a state in 1864. So the parade has also been running for a very long time. Here in Carson City, basically the entire state shows up in Carson City. It's a great time. It's a big party. We do flyovers. They do a balloon ascension, kind of almost Dawn Patrol style. It's early in the morning before the parade starts. It's beautiful, hot air balloons everywhere. And usually that's the day when it decides to get cold.
Yep, that's the day it gets freezing. And we take this holiday so serious. I'm not
Yep.
making this up. We changed state law and created a state holiday for it because Nevada Day is October 31st.
Yep.
That is our
That was
founding
our
day.
admission day.
But it is since October 31st, of course, like other holidays like Veterans Day and Juneteenth, they roam through the week. What the legislature in their all-encompassing wisdom did was to make the last Friday of October a state holiday.
Yep.
And so the parade could be held on the following Saturday. So this year, the Friday is actually October 31st, but the Nevada Day Parade is on November 1st. So it's not even in October.
Right.
So
and there was, especially the kids were upset about this because since Nevada Day always fell on October 31st, and that was when we got the day off, the kids in Carson City specifically would trick-or-treat the night before because everything happened on October 31st. So they would get 2 days of trick-or-treating.
Yep.
So we had Halloween on October 30th in Carson City because Nevada Day was October 31st. And I think maybe, aside from the purists who really believe Nevada Day should be Nevada Day, the kids were like, wait, what happened to the 2 days of Halloween?
Yeah. So so that talk we're going to have about Nevada Day in October, we just did it.
Well, we can do a lot more.
We can do a lot more because we
Yes.
can do a lot more. I don't know what else we've got. We've got the fantastic writer interviews. We've done so many writer interviews. We've learned so much about the writing craft. I guess is the word I'm looking for. The writing craft from these folks, and it's really been very interesting.
Other perspectives is
Perspectives.
fascinating.
We do 2 podcasts. We do the Nevada Authors Network, which is a collaboration between our company, Two More Books LLC, and the Sierra Arts Foundation to highlight and elevate the visibility of Nevada writers who are members of the Sierra Arts literary community. And we've learned a lot about people writing in Nevada, just really fascinating stuff, including, for example, we had a poet.
Yes.
A poet whose name escapes me.
Alice Osborne.
Thank you.
Poet and lyricist.
So she also, not only does she have books of poetry out, but she also has music out on CDs, which is fantastic.
And she's fascinated by the history of the Donner Party. That's how she ended up in this part of the country. And she came from back east, kind of the southeast. So talking to her about the history, she's also a fellow history research nerd. So I felt a very strong connection to Alice. But it is fun to see how authors approach the different styles of writing that they do. For example, we also had Jade Griffin, who does tabletop gaming and has written some books related to some characters for tabletop gaming. So that was fascinating too. And what was it? Was the Demon Hunter or?
Well, we had Justin. Well, those were for the Nevada.
About Jade, yes.
Those were for the Nevada Author Network, and then we have this podcast, which we sometimes invite writers come on just to have them, just to talk about them. And we've been fortunate not only to have across the country, but also around the world. And so, in place of our regular podcast next week, we're going to have Anthony Addis, who is from Britain.
Yes.
And so that's fun.
That was a fun interview because I believe they were having a storm at the time, so we weren't sure that the internet was going to stay up. Yeah. We have had a few technical glitches along the way just because, doing the things remotely adds an extra level of stress to it. Our first Nevada Author Network, we did a group recording session at the Depot Gallery and Bookstore. Please go check it out. But ever since we did that initial recording session, we found that doing it remotely works better for everybody because we can schedule them into everyone's schedules, and we do it within an hour time frame. So Alice Osborne was a bit of a challenge because of her scheduling. She's doing a variety of things besides writing. So, for example, going back and forth with people trying to schedule those in person was too much of a challenge. So we began doing them all remotely. And
anyway, going back
technology.
to Anthony, so Anthony, British.
That was the challenge that we were having with Anthony, was technology.
Okay. And also we had the recent privilege of having Justin Egger on. So Justin was just very articulate, very intellectual interview talking about his book, The Witness, and his thought processes into that. And his journalistic background was clearly evident during the interview, and that was a fun time. So we ask that if you go to our website at carsonhume.com and you click on Writers, And you can just go down and you can see we've done more than a dozen interviews, and we've got several planned. If you are a writer, if you're in Northern Nevada and you're a member of the Sierra Arts Literary Community, we invite you to come on to the Nevada Authors Network. If you are a writer outside of that sphere, then we invite you to come on to this podcast, and we'll be doing some social media to reinforce that.
And if you are a Northern Nevada writer who is not a member of the Sierra Arts Literary Community, we do recommend that you join because it is a great group. We had our meeting last Sunday. It's a lot of fun. It's great to get together with our fellow writers. So if you need that resource, some of the writers do have offshoot groups that are critique groups and things like that. So definitely look into the Sierra Arts Foundation if you are a Northern Nevada author.
Yep, absolutely. And we're going to actually, this is a good segue because the next meeting of the Sierra Arts Foundation, the Sierra Arts Literary Community, has a very fascinating topic. And we feel that this is pertinent to, most writers, and so we want to thank them for the inspiration. Excuse me, that would be Tia and Angela, who gave us the idea for today's podcast. We're not trying to steal their thunder. What we're trying to do is we're trying to put our twist onto that, and that is doing a book signing.
Yep.
It's doing a book signing.
Basically, it's setting up your table for a book signing.
Setting up the table. Preparing
what you're going to take.
And speaking of which, I just want to remind folks that we are doing book signings ourselves. We're going to be doing Barnes & Noble in November. We're going to be doing a table signing with Sierra Arts Foundation in October. And pending is we're hoping that we're going to be part of the Mark Twain days also that are in October. And is that the three that we have coming up?
Yes, I believe we may do another one at the Reno Public Market. They might be doing a holiday event. Right. And it's also possible the Nevada State Museum may do a holiday event. So those have not yet been announced. We're not sure they will happen, but the three that we have on our radar, we've already pre-registered for Mark Twain Days and Sierra Arts Foundation, but we're not yet approved. So those are still potential, but Barnes & Noble is definite.
Yeah, that's in November, so you'll definitely, and we've done several book signings already. We've been lucky and blessed, and we want to thank everybody who's worked with us to set those up. Each and every one has been a pleasant experience, and we've sold books, which is always fun. But it's, that's that selling thing, which I don't do very well. It's just, I'm not a seller. I like writing words. I like, distributing words, but, selling words is a humongous challenge. But it's fact of the matter is, and I know the writer's going to hate hearing this, is that 90% of independent publishing is marketing. 10% is everything else, and that's a lot. But it seems to me sometimes like you can do all this, jumping through hoops, but if you don't sell your books, you kind of go, well, what was the point? But I'm going to still sell the books no matter what.
There's also the satisfaction of putting out the books, but I think JT hasn't quite made the shift between selling and connecting with readers. And basically, when someone comes up to the table to talk to you, you have to be happy to talk about your book. And it's marketing, but you're also making that connection between yourself and the reader. And hopefully, like you said, that you enjoyed Heinlein and everybody. And that's one of the reasons he was inspired to write this. So making a connection with a fellow sci-fi fan who comes up and says, hey, I read blah, blah. I read, what is it? The moon is a harsh mistress.
Well, let's take a step back and let's talk about the components of it. Because what you're talking about, that's valid.
Yes.
But let's get organized and let's get our table organized, and then let's talk about the pitch that we obviously have to make.
Right.
So getting our table organized is, hopefully we found a picture.
We have several.
Hopefully we found a picture for the blog post so you can see what we have done. And I'm going to tell you right now, it's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. For example, if we found the right picture, you're going to see that our table is kind of cluttered because somebody has written a lot of books. It wrote a lot of books, and so the presentation of those books is a challenge. So CC had this idea of basically stealing it from somebody else. We're going to start doing bookshelves.
Yeah, get small tabletop bookshelves.
Yeah, because I'm getting ahead a little bit here because we're talking about presentation. We should also set up the presentation. The presentation should be pleasing. It shouldn't overwhelm folks. and so that's why we're saying we're going to try to get better organized by using bookshelves, and we're going to better organize our props, such as our bookmarks and our cards, our business cards, and the most important thing, probably more important than the books, is the free food.
That's what we keep forgetting, and some of our fellow authors, when we've done group events, have very kindly dropped candy on our table. But it is helpful. People will stop and pick up a piece of candy and start chatting with you. I recommend, someone brought, I think it was like taffy, or it was a chewy taffy kind of thing last time. I would recommend something more like Hershey Kisses. They can be messy, but when you have kids wandering through specifically, you want something that won't be too much of a hazard and won't get stuck in places. So recommend a soft candy.
Yep. We have a sign-up sheet for people that we've used to give something to write. So if they don't, if they don't buy a book, at least they feel like they contribute. But do a sign-in sheet and give us their email address. There's the dressing the part. Because I don't know if we really dress the part too much, but...
Well, I think JT's thought process on this one, in my thought, is that it's kind of a Nevada look. We've gone with denim. JT got a couple of cool bolo ties, and so we're looking... And definitely my main character wears denim in this book. In Passion Restored, she's wearing jeans and things, so... Wearing jeans to these book events it works out for us, but not for the sci-fi element. So, for example, we mentioned Angela earlier. She writes a fantasy series, and she dresses the part with, the elf ear type of thing, or the ear jewelry. Great table setup. She had lights and swords and everything on her table. We have probably too many books to do props like that, but there are a variety of ways to present your genre, and since we have mixed genres, that's a challenge for us.
And that's on me, because I'm still struggling with the genre thing, and I write books the way when they come to me, and take off from there.
It's not a problem. I think once we find our audience, hopefully, knock on wood, then it won't matter that it's multiple genres. It'll be people that enjoy our writing. JT definitely has a very particular writing style, no matter what genre it's in. So I think if people find that and enjoy it, they won't care about the genre as much. But and since this is kind of low-tech sci-fi, it's not really heavy on the tech speak. All of his books are pretty character-driven. So dressing the part can be a bit of a challenge between the genres, but I think it's also you're dressing for your comfort level too as an author. So
we're looking at, for example, the if we do end up doing the Sierra Arts Foundation thing in October, that's going to be an all-day thing from 10 to 5, and it's going to be a long day. And of course, it being October, there's no telling what the weather is going to be, so we're going to be challenged that way. And also, we're going to be doing it under a canopy. So the canopy, doing it under canopy, we've already figured out how we're going to do our canopy. We're going to get a one-wall canopy, and we're going to make
pop-ups.
And we're going weights, and we're going to make sure that the canopy wall is facing south. So of course, unless we are facing south, but then we'll
that's a different challenge.
Then we'll just sort of have to make do. But I hope that's not the case. The street that we're going to be on is an east-west street, so it's going to be interesting to see how it's going to turn out. For the record, it's on Victoria Square, in Sparks.
Yes.
By the
Depot Gallery.
Depot Gallery bookstore.
And the Sparks Heritage Museum is on the opposite side of the street, and there's they kind of set up an amphitheater. I think it's like a permanent area there. And as far as I'm aware, at this point in time, the street will be closed to traffic. So I don't know if they're actually going to be setting us up in the street or on the sidewalks. We're not sure of the layout yet.
But you can see the difference between an outdoor and an indoor venue, because we've only done indoor venues right now, but we're looking at 2 outdoor venues, because Mark Twain Days will also be outdoor.
Right.
So we're looking at that. So that so that's in a challenge in itself. So we have definitely canopies are required for that. So if you're going to be doing a signing, make sure that you plan to head on your canopy what kind of canopy that you want, and those venues also require that you have weights, which in Nevada is absolutely necessary, because if you're in Nevada, the wind always blows.
Yeah. And the thing about the canopy is that they mostly require a 10 by 10 pop-up. It's a very specific size, so you have to be careful to get the right size for the event. We initially looked at doing kind of a branded pop-up, which gets very much more expensive. If you do a lot of these events, maybe it's worthwhile, but at this point in time, we're going to get a generic one with just a wall.
Yeah. But one thing you definitely have with your setup is you want to have it eye-catching. You want to get some eye-catching. And to that end, we have two things that we did not bring to this podcast. We have a table drape that has our logos on it and our names and everything like that. But we also have a pop-up, a 10-foot not 10 foot, is it 10 foot?
I think it's 8 foot.
8 foot.
I think so.
Yeah, 10 foot would be unreal. But we have an 8-foot pop-up that has our pretty little pictures on it. And again, has our stuff. And so that is also eye-catching. Our pop-up is kind of strange because for some reason it worked once. And then for some reason...
Well, I've heard that other people have the same issue. Now, anybody who is familiar with a pop-up, you know it comes out of the cartridge. It extends out. You have a pole that holds it straight. And then it has feet that swing out so that you can balance it. And I'm not sure if after that first event... And to be honest, at the first event, it was leaned in the window.
Yeah.
Because we were set up in the D. McWin concourse at the State Museum. It was up against a window, so it may never have stood up on its own, honestly.
But right now, when we stand it up,
balancing.
It leans way forward, almost to the tip of poison. And so the very kind folks at Barnes & Noble's gave us some stuff to help it lean up straight. We kept that stuff, and so we'll be using it again. But have eye-catching stuff.
Yep.
As Cece said, some writers like to use lights.
Yeah.
Some like to use props from their books, if not swords, then other things. The swords idea is so cool. I've got to write a book with swords.
It's a very cool sword, too.
Yeah. Other props to relate to your books, dressing the part.
Well, and we mentioned like little tabletop bookshelves. What she was using also were those little crates. Like you get the little wooden crates at Michael's, for example, and you can stain it to go with the color of your books and things like that. And that way you can stage your books within the crates, and that makes it pop too. So things like that can make a huge difference.
Yeah. And this may sound strange, especially if you're prolific, again, like some people. Maybe not bring all your books and overwhelm everybody. Select your books. And then also be mindful of your audience when you do select those books. For example, I still have not taken my not safe for work books out in public. I have 2 books from that, Love and Death in I-80 West, and starting over in Las Vegas, and the compilation. But I have not taken those out in public. They're available for sale on our book site, and they're available for sale on the platforms, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I do not want people to be coming by and opening up those books in front of me, because not only would I turn amazingly red, they're not safe for work. So be mindful of your audience. Pick your books to match the event.
Definitely don't take something like that to a children's event.
Yeah, or where children will be attending, because but on the flip side, Reno, a place in Reno is going to be doing a burlesque event.
If they haven't done it already.
If they haven't done it already. And forgive us for not remembering the specifics. But if I were to do that, which I am not going to do that because I am not a burlesque kind of guy, those not safe for work books.
It was funny because JT hadn't really realized what was involved in the event. It is burlesque. It is a burlesque performance where they will read out from the book in a burlesque sense. So there will be some level of disrobing. Yeah,
I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. But anyway.
Now, you could have someone else read it for you, but I think JT's comfort level has not reached that point yet.
Yeah, she's blushing for me right now. But anyway, that would have been an okay place for the not safe for work books. So be mindful of your audience, and be mindful and try not to overwhelm your audience.
But that goes to the point of being aware of your audience, that there are people out there who write very spicy romance. We did have one on our podcast, and we talked about, I think we mentioned in a previous podcast, the kink coach, to help, clear out the details of some of the spicy elements of the book. So book events can be very specific to a specific genre. And I know just this past weekend here in town, they did a romance, kind of a glamping event that we donated some bookmarks to. So, you know, when you're signing up for these events, it's good to be aware of what type of event you're signing up for to make sure that you are writing in the right genre for that event.
Yeah, and we just want to say hello to Linda Bailey, who was
Yes.
That was another great
That was
interview.
a great one.
Y'all got to check out that interview. That one was fun.
But there are very specific events sometimes. There are romance specific. There are obviously a lot of sci-fi events. We do Nevada themed events. For example, Mark Twain Days is somewhat more Mark Twain oriented, but it's kind of got the Nevada flair to it. So Jeff, just look and see what's available out in there before you sign up for the events.
And then there's always the devil in the details. There's the little things that you need to do to prepare yourself. And you know, I didn't think this was a big deal before we actually started, before I had paper copies, but practice your signature. You know, that's a funny one. But because obviously if you have a pen name that is different from your real name, you know, I just, for my real name, it's like,
yeah, it's very unreadable.
Bite me. But, you know, it's like JT.
Well, and that's a great point, because if you are popular and you have a lot of people lined up for your signing, you will get hand cramps. So you want to make sure that the way you sign your name is not going to cramp your hand. Because usually you will not only sign your name, but you may direct it to the particular person who's bought your book. Plus you might put a little, a thank you, for example, just a little note in there as well. So be considerate of how much time you're going to spend with that pen in your hand, because if you are a prolific author and you have a big audience, you will get hand cramps.
And then there's probably the most important thing, and this is the one that I have the biggest struggle with. And really, there's a lot of very important things about doing your table setup, but it has nothing to do with the table. It has to do with your sales pitch. You have to be able to explain your books. You have to be able to make your books sound attractive, because sometimes I don't know if writers grasp. Writers are readers.
Mm-hmm.
Writers are readers. It's just part of the function of being a writer. But I don't know if writers sometimes lose that connection of understanding that reading for some people is a serious commitment.
Mm-hmm.
It's a commitment of time. Writers, I think, as readers, we can buzz through something, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and we just, you know, hey, that was pretty good, you know, technically it was good, you know, good, you know, we start to focus sometimes on the craft and we lose the plot. But we forget sometimes that for some people, reading is a commitment, an emotional commitment, a
Mm-hmm.
time commitment, an energy commitment. And so what we need to do is we have to, as writers, is we have to sell our books and say, you know, we know that your time is valuable.
Mm-hmm.
We know that your energy, your life is valuable, and taking time away from reading it, taking time to read is important to you. This is why our books should fill that space, and our pitch should be that way. And that's hard. Pitches are hard for me. And so it's like when somebody like come by and once looks at the sheriff books, you know, and it happens to be a woman, then you know, what I try to say is, well, it's, you know, I try to say it's about a strong woman in Nevada just like you. It's that kind of thing.
It took him a second, but he figured that one out.
Yeah, but you know, it's the pitch is a challenge.
You want to make a connection with the reader.
Yeah.
And I've seen several authors, I believe, and this is something that I plan to steal for future book signings that we're doing. They have actually created a sheet that will stick out of your book. So when you have it on display like this, you have a piece that comes out around it, and it will give you, maybe mention the tropes that are involved in the book. You know, is it a romance? This is a paranormal. It's similar to certain kinds of books. If you later in life characters, you know, a curvy woman, it's a small town, he's wealthy, all these different things, and you have it sticking out, because not only are authors uncomfortable promoting themselves, readers can be nervous about coming up to talk to an author.
Oh yeah.
And we've noticed that, they'll just kind of walk right by. The
Yeah, we
eyes
saw
are
that in
glazed
Barnes and
over.
Noble. We were right by the entrance of Barnes and Noble, and you could see just people and I want to frame this correctly. I don't mean it in a negative way, but people would walk in and their heads would twist either away from us or they would look over us, and we get it because it is very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And we've done it too.
Yeah.
It's very uncomfortable to
actually approach somebody you don't know. So having these little extensions to your book with they don't even have to pick up the book to see what's involved with the book. I think we're going to try that moving forward, because maybe then people will at least stop. We can just say hello. We don't have to start hard selling anything. Hello, how are you today? Please check out what we've got. If you're interested, have any questions, let us know. Yeah. And that way it takes the pressure off both sides.
Yeah. And I guess maybe, I don't want to keep saying the most important thing, but I think to sum this up is not be friendly and be realistic.
Yeah.
Be friendly and be realistic, because of that previously mentioned thing that people just are so busy, and reading, it's not like it used to be.
No.
Maybe I'm looking things rose-colored glasses, but books used to be so much a big deal. And they used to be such a part of society. But, as we've entered into the information age, there's just so much media out there in addition to books. There's so much media to be consumed through the social media platforms and through the various news outlets. And there's just so much available for consumption that I don't know if books are as important as they used to be.
I don't think that's the case. I agree. There's definitely an overabundance of things. As we mentioned previously, thousands of independently published books, self-published books are released on a daily basis. Getting to someone's eyes in that amount of releases is very difficult. So the important thing is to make connections. And that's why we are building local, because not only do we talk to our local writer friends, but they may tell a friend, hey, I know somebody who wrote a book that you might be interested in. The word of mouth is still very important. Social media, if you can make a connection with somebody on social media, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And if they are willing to share what you've talked about, then, that will be a huge help to you. We've noticed that setting aside money for social media marketing doesn't really help us, because people just scroll right past the ads. So you have to make the connection. That's the most important thing. If somebody is really interested in science fiction, they find certain characters very relatable, and they talk to JT about the book and they remember, this author was really cool. Maybe I'll check out his other books. That's how you build, and that will make for better future book signings. And
those connections are so important, and it's equally important to be realistic about book signings. To equally be, because again, there's just so much to be consumed out there, and if you happen to be in the right spot at the book, sometimes you don't get a choice where you're going to be sitting.
Right.
Actually, I think very rarely we've had a choice. I think maybe one book signing we had a choice, and you just have to do the best you can with what you got, and be realistic and understand that, hey, some days you're just not going to do it, but you're there to hopefully. It's like when I was teaching. I used to teach, computers in prisons, and I can tell you 90% of the guys that were in my classes were just there so they wouldn't have to be in their cells. But sometimes you made that connection to one. And that one student, you make the connection to one student, outstanding. Hopefully when they get out, because generally almost all inmates do eventually get out, you hopeful that one inmate, that one student, you've made a connection, and maybe they've found a path. And it's the same way with, making a connection. You're going to be talking to a lot of folks. Yeah. Maybe or maybe not, they'll get it, but hopefully a reader will come along and they will connect with your book. It's like it's like when we were doing book sirens with Zoe. There was one person who did a review that absolutely got it.
He was so excited.
They so understood the book, excited. And so you make that one connection, and so hopefully at book signings be realistic, and you can make that one connection with the reader, and maybe start those connections that CC was talking about. Book signings are valuable, they're essential, They're a challenge on many levels. Some people find them fun. I find them not fun, but I find them a necessary part of the job.
And some of the other things we probably should mention are the more technical background details. Do have a cash box with you. We forgot to take change to one signing, and it didn't really matter because a lot of people do use cards now. Make sure your card reader works, because in some cases you may not have Wi-Fi, so we had to do manual input into Square, which is the app we use. So you have your cash box, you have multiple forms of ways to make payments. So people have mentioned Venmo and PayPal as well. It helps to have QR codes to those on your table to make it easier. A lot of people just pay by phone. So if you can do it that way, you may have an easier time of making sales. So that's something we may expand on in the future. Plus things like someone mentioned, and this is not something we've done yet, but take a first aid kit. If you get a paper cut, you don't want to bleed on your books.
Things like that.
So things like that. Think of the very minute details. We are going to be doing an all-day event, so we'll probably take a nice chest with snacks, because we are required to be at our table during the event. Walking away, we may not be invited back for future events. So be aware of those things and make sure you're prepared as possible. If you're outdoors, take a sweater, or have a hat, something to protect yourself, have sunblock.
Things like that.
Think about all the little details that come with being in a
just
certain
pretend
location.
You're going to the picnic or to a beach, but you're just taking your books with you.
Yep, so it's very important, because I think as we've done these events, we learned something new each time. Make sure you have plenty of pens on hand in case your pens run dry. Little things like that can make a big difference.
I think we pretty much nailed this one. So, but again, we want to thank Angela and Tia at the Sierra Arts Foundation for giving us ideas on this particular podcast, because we've done some 230 something podcasts of this and to help writers write, and we're always looking for fresh ideas, and this was a good one. We're almost at the end of this podcast, because I think we pretty much nailed this topic to the ground.
Well, for the moment, until we learn new things that we should or should not have done.
So I do want to conclude this podcast with a saying goodbye to somebody. Wait a minute.
We forgot one other thing.
We forgot. Go ahead.
So on the topic of things that you take to a book signing, but maybe not to all of them, merch or swag. So we have, let's see here. We have just gotten these book bags that we did through Vistaprint. We will be taking them to some book signings, not all of them, and we will be selling them, because hopefully this will be a way for people who are attending multi-author events to carry all their books around.
Okay. So
one other thing that we can include.
What we do is we're ending on a somber note, because since our last podcast, our Mr. Cub, not saying Ernie Banks, but our Mr. Cub passed away to pancreatic cancer, and it's difficult to say goodbye to your heroes. It's your childhood heroes. Not really childhood, but when Cece and I first got married back in the day,
we were kids.
We bonded over WGN. The Cubs. Harry. And the second baseman who, brought the Cubs to relevancy. Now, we have to explain. There are two. Wrigley Field, home of the Cubs, always sells out, because there's two types of fans, and they overlap. There are Cubs fans, and there are Wrigley Field fans. They're fans of Wrigley Field. And so Wrigley Field will always sell out. But whether or not the Cubs are good. And when we first started watching the Cubs were not good until they traded from the Phillies, a young second baseman by the name of Ryan Sandberg. And Ryan Sandberg became the boilerplate for second baseman for Major Leagues. He played the game correctly in the steroid era. And when he retired, he had the most home runs for a second baseman. And he was just the epitome of what you want to do as a baseball professional. And he passed away since we last got together here. And so we have his card here that we got at Cooperstown. This is his Hall of Fame plaque. And, the t-shirt I'm wearing, and things like that. And Cece's wearing her Cubs earrings. And so we are glad that Ryan is no longer in pain. but we join his thousands, if not millions of fans in remembering him. You know, take care, number 23. We're never going to forget you.
He was much too young, just 65, I think,
Yeah.
about the time he passed away. And, you know, for an athlete, you would hope they would be around a lot longer, but sometimes that's just not the case. And we do, and we will miss him.
Yeah, and it's just classic guy, you know. So y'all take care.
But
anyway,
he's hanging out with Harry now.
He's hanging out with Harry now, plus a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yep, Ernie,
you know, Ron, you know, Jack Brickhouse, you know, the whole group.
Yes.
Okay, and on that note, we hope that you are well. We hope that you are into books. We hope that you check out our books. You hope that you check out our book site. And until the next time, sitting over there's CC.
And over there's JT.
Y'all take care. Thank you lots. Love you
Bye.
lots. Bye-bye.